Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Such a pleasure to have all of you back with us for the commencement of the season 2 of the CMO Talk series. I'm joined today by Arturo Pena. Arturo is the CMO of SoftServe, and I will ask him to introduce what SoftServe does in a little bit of detail before we get going. However, what's interesting to note is Arturo has played marketing leadership roles across a whole host of technology players. And I'm saying the technology sector broadly covers hardware, software, services. Arturo's done it all. He's been in all those sectors. So if there's one person, a CMO today, who can give us a holistic perspective of the gestalt that marketing creates within the technology sector, I have the man with me. And Arturo, would you like to introduce yourself and SoftServe a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much for having me in your podcast. Well, first of all, my name is Arturo Peña. As you just mentioned, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at SoftServe. I've been at the company for almost 2 years. And as you pointed out before that, I've been in the technology space for quite some time, working in services and product technologies as well. Always in marketing. I actually also have experience in sales, and that caught my attention and my interest in marketing. So what SoftServe, what is it that we do? I like to describe SoftServe as we are digital and technology business advisors. So we help companies pretty much make that connection of the role of digital and technology in solving big and complex business problems or opportunities that they see in front of them. And below that advisory, we are very strong core engineers. So we have around 13,000 employees around the globe, and we cover advanced capabilities, including cloud computing, data and analytics, artificial intelligence and machine learning, DevOps as part of cloud, and software engineering. So with that strong core engineering, those are the pillars to go deliver the last mile of that advisory that we provide in, again, solving business problems through digital and technology.
Great. So Arturo, talking to a digital engineering company, let me present to you the problem statement that we wanted to start off and get your views on that. So season 1, Arturo, we had conversations with a lot of chief marketing officers. And the problem statement actually was the distinction between efficiency and effectiveness.
Yeah.
It's a battle everybody fights because, especially in the B2B sector, you tend to generate efficiently lots of leads, but then they don't somehow convert to revenue, or sales and the business teams does not seem value. And we have a huge amount of insight and input about various strategies to bridge that gap. However, what our audiences have also been telling us is one of the key bridging elements is artificial intelligence, and AI can actually create the bridge between efficiency and effectiveness. And I know you personally, Arturo, have been leveraging AI in marketing, and SoftServe obviously is creating waves in the AI world. Especially, I saw your Google Cloud partnership and the kind of work you're doing. So talk to us a little bit about your views on, from a marketer's perspective, this bridge of efficiency and effectiveness with AI. What does that feel like to you?
Yeah. So a little bit of prologue to that. I would say that as a CMO in the B2B world, specifically B2B technology, and more specifically B2B technology services, there is a constant pressure in revenue generating organizations, including marketing, to deliver more and better at a lower price, right? At a lower cost. So these are the two forces in each one of the sides pulling against each other. And like I said, marketing is not the exception. And marketing has been traditionally been seen as an organization that, by the very nature, changes constantly. So trying to keep up with delivering better results, as in, you can quantify that through brand awareness, your target audience levels of engagement, but ultimately delivering pipeline to an organization. um, all those efforts always get trumped and disrupted by the constant change of the market conditions, by the constant change of your own business conditions, and ultimately by the constant change in the marketing landscape, the technology, the new practices, and it changes so fast because more and more competitors coming to your into your segment, right? Existing companies that decide to start doing marketing, and the establishment of the marketing practice has been there for the last 20 years, I would say. So it is faster to turn around or to create a marketing function in any company, right? Now, the quality and the depth of that marketing, those marketing efforts, well, varies depending on the maturity of the company. But like I said, just the appearance of more marketing functions in your competitive landscape, it just forces you to create better things and faster. So that's a little bit of the prologue or context on this is the life of any CMO or any marketer in competitive segments. When you don't live in a competitive segment, you will see a lot of CMOs very thrown into brand development, brand equity, and brand management, because they could be in a segment where there's not a lot of competition. It's mainly driven by market conditions, and that's the focus. But when there's a lot of competition, then the full buyer's journey, taking care of the buyer's journey to then deliver business to your organization, that forces you to innovate. So having said that, some of generative AI, or in general artificial intelligence, as I mentioned at the beginning of the introduction of SoftServe, is one of our core capabilities, and it's not new in terms of the hotness and the momentum that it and all the traction that is getting in the markets. But we've been in generative and in AI in general and machine learning for years. And we started using the principles that we know that we use with clients to start making those improvements and changes within the marketing organization. And connecting to the problem statement that you just mentioned, typically the efforts, investments, focus areas to be more efficient, and the focus areas or projects to be more effective, they're usually treated differently, right? They have specific objectives. One of them to reduce the cost of operation, the other one to deliver more through creation, right? Through innovation. So in our learnings with clients, we've realized that the introduction of artificial intelligence and machine learning has an overall effect that, number one, that the additional resources that are being freed by the use of artificial intelligence creates the environment, the time, the wiggle room, the oxygen to actually stop, pause, think about innovation and improving outcomes. And that automatically has a direct correlation between creating an efficiency that delivers the opportunity to be more effective. That's just kind of the table stakes. Regardless of the use case, it just opens that opportunity, right? You all of a sudden we are seeing the opportunity to pause and do better things. Now, and I'll walk you through some of the things, I would say, within the domains of marketing, how artificial intelligence and machine learning can be used. If you look at most of the blogs in marketing right now, the use cases, meaning the reason why you use artificial intelligence, are around content, are around probably media. But I would say the vast majority of what I've seen is content. And yes, I think that was a very immediate low-hanging fruit, because all of a sudden you have the ability to generate content at a faster pace with less time to do the research, because the AI tools help you dig out all the information that you need and use that information to create content, right? So it was so obvious, and I would say that most companies are using it, and if they're not, they're missing out. But I would even say that there are so many things before that AI can be helping with. One of them is go to market, right? Go to market, in simple terms, if I were to call it, go to market for dummies, is what are you going to say? What are you going to sell? I'm sorry. And who are you going to sell that to? Right. That's just what go-to-market addresses. And many times, I would say that all the time, not even many times, all the time, the process of generating a strategy of a go-to-market strategy takes a lot of time. It takes 1 month, 2 months, at the least 1 month, because it requires the effort of different commercial teams and supporting teams to go do research, identify sources of information that will tell you about the market size, that will tell you about the market momentum, and how that connects to your solutions and offerings that you can put in front of that market, the competitive landscape. So the sources, just identifying the sources is one effort. Once you identify them, which of those are relevant, then analyze them. For each one of those that you've decided that is relevant, what portion of it is important for you and your analysis. So all these different steps take a lot of time, right? So like I said, AI, based on what I just described, will help you accelerate that process. That's not effectiveness. That continues to be efficiency. But again, AI is delivering the efficiency immediately, but also the effectiveness. I'll give you a very specific case for that in go-to-market. You can, most of the go-to-market strategies would not contain, near real-time information informing your strategy. It just doesn't, right? Most of it will be outdated data. Outdated could be 1 month ago. It could be a research piece that you're using from a year ago, right? So with AI, will help you be more effective, because now you have more sources of information that help determine who you should be going after, because you have the best opportunity to win in a green field, in a blue ocean strategy, in a white space or brown field, whatever the case is. So more data, more effectiveness, because you can be more focused. Secondly, just think about the ramifications of having a sales and customer success management and marketing functions aligned to a very clear delineation of your go-to-market. Again, what are you going to sell to whom and how? When that alignment happens, just think about the effectiveness of reaching out to your target audiences when every single one of the teams in your organization, as they have interactions with your audience, they are singing the same song. So this alignment is no longer efficiency. This alignment is effectiveness. Your audience will receive a consistent message that happens to be more relevant, and that happens to also be more repetitive, and therefore create more familiarity to what you're saying, right? So that's a massive strategy portion where AI can help. If at any point in time you want to ask me a question or interject, just feel free to do so.
Yeah. No, I think, Arturo, that's a brilliant definition. Let me replay what I heard you say, because I think you've made a very important point. So the bridge that you've described is AI at the marketing process level can kill transactions, and
Yep.
therefore it reduces workloads. And those workloads that have reduced releases time for people to do value-added work in the marketing organization. And I
Mhm.
heard you talk about, probably 4 or 5 things on the value-added side. The first I think, referred to the expansion of TAM. And in fact, if I go back to my SAP days, I thought Bill McDermott, who was a brilliant marketer, his claim to fame was TAM expansion, how he took SAP's largely ERP TAM into multiple. But there's a huge market exploration to
Mhm.
continuously expand your addressable market. Within that, the decision on where to play. Within a where to play decision, the discovery of customers where highest propensity would exist for you to do business. And then finally, you talked about the alignment of the GTM organization along the customer life cycle, if I understood you correctly, so that the
Right.
customer experience becomes orchestrated rather than siloed, and all of this, you believe, is doable through AI.
Yeah. And if you take a look at technologies, whether they're products that are adopting existing language models, or they're developing their own, um, what I described was doing all this research, right? And coming up with a faster way of identifying your segments you should go after, and very specifically with what that will make you more successful at capturing such market, right? Now, if you think of a system, think about engagement platforms and CRMs, where when I was talking about this alignment, this is then pushed into the full company, into the whole organization, to be very clear about those go-to-market strategies. Then everything that the company does for the purpose of selling, whether it's an existing client or a new logo, then everything is aligned to that, right? What marketing does, what customer success, sales organization, even your processes that are supporting your commercial engine. Think about the process of pricing, quoting, pricing, and transacting, all the administrative work, including legal. Depending on the definition of your segment, think about how you can adjust, right? The steps and the thoroughness, or the how stringent those steps are for each one of the situations. Everything driven by a better definition of a go-to-market, or a segment that you're going after, right? That includes not only the market data, but you also include the relationship level that you already have in the account. It could be white space, it could be a cross-sell and an upsell segment. It should also include your scores in terms of servicing them or delivering products to them, the level of satisfaction they have. It should include engagement and intent data, first party and third
But
party.
Arturo, if I could ask you, see, there is a big, so the concept is incredible. What I'm battling with right now is, let's look at the customer life cycle, right? So from the discovery process, which is, let's say, a marketing team, and I'm talking from a customer's perspective, to the engagement process, which is some kind of a business development team, to the
Yes.
purchase process, which is some kind of sales organization, and a commercial organization, to, let's say, an aftermarket, or which is a customer success kind of an organization. So there are multiple teams, and even in the commercial organization, there's legal, finance, especially if
Correct.
you're in B2B. So think about, if I was a customer, Arturo, doing business with you, I am engaged with 7 or 8 different functional silos in your company,
Mm-hmm.
who all operate differently, are parts of different processes, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Now, theoretically, I understand that AI can break the silo and represent me as the customer. Practically, how could it be made to happen? How would all these 8 silos suddenly orchestrate around this one customer, me,
Yeah.
for instance?
Well, just remember the principles of AI. The number one foundation is data, right? Without data, AI is nothing. It's just a massive set of instructions, aka an algorithm. But the algorithm, all it does is looking for the relevant data depending on your input, right? Depending on your prompts. So having described it like that, if you're successfully implementing AI, you start with your solid data foundation. And again, your first party data and your ability to ingest third party data, sorted and use what's necessary, secure it, et cetera, right? Once you have that foundation, then I was talking about prompts. Depending on the role and the stage or the step of interaction of your customer with your company, then the prompts will say, well, based on what I'm supposed to do in legal, in all this data that has the definition of the company, the definition of the persona, that relationship level, the risk level, well, the information that is relevant to me in this step will allow to provide a faster response to the customer, and that is also relevant to the nature of that customer. That's what AI will solve. Your data and your tools for each one of the steps of interacting with your customers, for each one of the functions, to do their job better. This is effectiveness, not efficiency. Yes, it will be
Absolutely, absolutely.
faster, but then the legal team will have a better answer to your account team about what to do in that specific contract, right? Based on information that is relevant to the legal team. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
meant by alignment.
Yeah, and Arturo, it's fabulous. I'm just, so my follow-on question to that is, the 2 points you made call for, let's say, a CDP, for want of a better term. But you
Yep.
need a CDP, which many companies today struggle to produce, which means
Yes.
you'll have to transform your data layer. Uh,
Yeah.
and the second thing is you will need a defined customer journey. And if you're working with AI with next best actions built in, so on and so that the
Yeah.
prompts that you're referring to come up. Now, what's the role of marketing in this?
You mean in the implementation of the technology or once the
Or in this
technology
whole
is in
concept,
place?
in the yeah, in this whole architecture
Yeah.
of a CDP along with a journey which is holistic, covers the entire customer life cycle,
Yeah.
because we started with the CMO's role, and I can see it again intuitively that the CMO is probably the one function who represents the customer in
Yeah.
the organization.
I would agree with you. I mean, I think the role of marketing is precisely to define what you just said, the journey. And there's no one size fits all in terms of journey. I think it has to be journeys in plural. Like I said, based on archetypes. Right now, archetypes is not a new concept. It's just that the archetypes were very limited in the information that what's in it. Remember, 20 years ago when all these conferences on marketing, everyone said, I need a persona. So you saw people running on the hallways screaming, I need a persona. Nobody knew what a persona was. So that's my point, right? Archetypes is the same thing. Nothing changes in terms of all these definitions and concepts in marketing. What has changed is the availability of data, and second, the ability to do something useful with the data. Because without AI, it would take a massive investment in data engineering and data science to get something out of the data, and by the time it's out, is too late. You and I know that if you're in sales or marketing, you need to act today. You set up a strategy that defines the journey that you're describing. I think marketing owns that journey. But then as you go, you talked about next best action, right? Marketing function needs to move more towards that direction, acting based on the evidence that we see today versus acting in month 11 based on the hypothesis of 11 months ago. That
Yeah.
changes dramatically, right? That's effectiveness in the principle of marketing. We want to get the attention of the audience. We want that audience to engage with us. You start building a relationship that generates an interest in transacting with you, right? So it makes you more effective in all these things because it's a more pleasant journey and experience interacting with you. But I think more importantly, it's more relevant.
So Arturo, I think you've added a layer now to our entire conversation, because I am now seeing the three layers fall in place to what you said. Efficiency, you talked about the killing of transactions, releasing of time. Effectiveness, you spoke to market insight and the
Mm-hmm.
strategy of where to play and
Yep.
who to target and so on. And you've added this layer of transformation, which is actually the customer experience itself or the customer journey. And all three are possible for the marketing team to do today because of the power of AI.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a very compelling vision, Arturo. I do think CMOs across the world can listen to this vision and look at a potential point B to their current point A. But my last question to you today, Arturo, is if an audience or somebody listening to us right now were to say, what's the first step I make from my current point A to this future three stack point B? What is the first step you would ask them to take tomorrow in office?
Yeah. You know, AI has opened the possibilities of using something that is available now. Some versions are free or with a minimum investment, right? Those are existing language models with existing data sets, and you just use it quickly, right? Then if you think of a higher maturity, then you aggregate your own data to it, giving significantly more context to what you need to do. And probably the last maturity model, and you can look at the way we're doing it with our clients in our website, is not only having your own data, but customizing the models, right? Customizing the models. So then you start teaching your own models, using your own data, and grabbing third-party data. So when I describe this, the reality is that a lot of marketing functions probably won't have the ability today to go towards the highest level. Unless you are a large business to consumer brand and you have the ability to make large investments and buy hardware with powerful GPUs from NVIDIA and other brands. Unless you're in that position, I would say be practical. Do the first step, and we also always recommend this to clients, focus first on your use case. What is the area of improvement in marketing that requires effectiveness as soon as possible, or that will yield the highest value in your ability, like we said, in get the attention of your audience, get them to engage with you, get them to trust you and transact with you, right? So those are kind of the epic goals of any marketer. What are the things that you can see value immediately impacting those categories, right? And content is one of them. And based on that definition, the identification of the use case, then research existing tools that are available that can support it. Why? Because most organizations, whether it's marketing or otherwise, they know by concept what AI is. But the real understanding of it will come when you actually start using it. So by selecting something that exists, that you know supports your use case, that supports some of the outcomes and impact into the business, and looking at technology that is available, it will give you faster results, which will get you will gain also traction within the company to then show the results that this brings so you can then fund the next thing. And having said that, I think the most advancements that I've seen is in content. It continues to be content. And the last recommendation that I will make is think about the adjacency of the use of that technology in the specific use case you selected. Like I said, content. Let's pick content. What else can that same tool that is for content purposes, what else can it do for other adjacent use cases? And I'll give you 3 quick examples. One, media, right? Content is not necessarily the same as media. You have your ad units on social media and display advertising. You could be using the same technology that is focused on content to create short form for media and not to do whatever you're doing today. Let's say, 2 ad units per campaign. No, this will give you the possibility to create 10 and do experimentation and better A/B testing. That is the adjacency that I'm talking about. If you have a business development team or a market development team or inside sales, right? Probably they're typing in their own emails, reaching out to an audience or their own scripts. How about you use that same content technology to improve and test the efficacy, the effectiveness of what we're putting in writing to reach out to audiences to set up a meeting or to get them to come to an event. That's what I'm talking about in upstream, working on messaging, right? Our companies and every single marketing organization creating a messaging house for every go-to-market or every campaign. I've seen that most companies don't do it. They just jump from here's my go-to-market, here's my content. What about creating messaging houses using the same AI for content that adds more variability to the way you create messaging houses, including the tone of voice, including the stage of the buyer's journey, the effectiveness of sequencing of ideas. The same core technology that is available right now, you can use it for many ways. And the long-term benefit of that is your team will learn about AI. Yeah, that is key, because once you move into the maturity of we want to start using our own data and we want to start teaching our own models, they will have the foundation to treat AI in a more effective way.
Fantastic, Arturo. I think you've said it all. This, I think, is extraordinarily good guidance. Certainly, I learned a lot from the 3 instances you took. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure and super fun to talk to you.